Okay.
Viewers, you don't know who the cameraman is.
No.
You don't know why you're being made to see these things. Nor do I. You're seeing me. I can't even see you. I may be dead by the time you watch this. Very possibly are. You don't know who's the man who's making things he wants you to see. Destroy your television sets. Now. You must listen to no orders. That's all I can tell you at this point of humanity. Believe me.
Oh, NASA is sharing the sound of a black hole, and it's kind of creating a buzz on social media.
Apparently so. Take a listen.
Добре відомі кожному на планеті.
So that we can hear it.
І ті, які усюди.
And that is what they...
I have worried about whether or not I will have to leave the house because I can't afford to heat it.
Official figures show there are between 7,000 and 8,000 homeless veterans across Britain.
Small business owners are getting absolutely decimated.
Those are the people's priorities.
Downright scariest ways that governments control your behavior.
Then let's play in front of your nest.
They are your government's priorities. 5 promises. We will halve inflation, grow the economy, reduce debt, cut waiting lists and stop the boats. 5 promises. 5 promises.
Hey! 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 Oh my God! Hey! 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 Oh my God!
This is a nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it. Second Amendment's not absolute. This is a nation that believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it.
I'm a little concerned that that move by Gina McCarthy, shocking disregard for the rule of law in America.
This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it.
You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool.
The U.S. military is helping the Saudis plan bombing missions over Yemen.
We do not encourage violence.
Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
We are still an America that believes in honesty, decency, and respect for others.
So I keep getting crickets in my house. I don't know why. I've never had a cricket problem before, but I looked it up, and apparently it's really bad luck to kick them out of your house. Like, you're not supposed to kick them out of your house, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, let you stay here? Now there's like 36 crickets running around because I did kick out one, and let me tell you, I had a really, really horrible week after that. And now they're just running around. And I'm like, please move. I just want to make a piece of toast and you're in my way. And I open a cabinet and it's like, oh, hey, cricket that I can't kick out of my house. Can you please just leave? I don't want to kick you out. I just want to ask you nicely to leave. My house is just infested with crickets. And there's nothing I can do about it.
And you will be avenged, Colton!
Well, good afternoon.
Shut up, shut up.
Who is that?
That's my line.
Who have we here?
Well. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben. Good to see you, old boy.
Yeah, it's good to see me too.
It is. It's great to see you, mate. Great to see you.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yes, I did. I know. Anyway, yeah. So I hope everyone liked our little pre-roll. I think that was good.
Well, maybe. Bella says in the chat, was that the British satellite launch?
We'll come to that.
I'm sure we will. I mean, not gonna lie to you. You are gonna have to explain a lot of the news of the last couple of days to me. I have been detoxing.
Yeah, no, and quite rightly too, mate. Quite rightly too. So just before we run into the show, and detoxing by not drinking sugar. Yeah. Anyway, as we run into the show's intro, we were going to have a quick preamble like we normally do, and tonight our great leader is going to speak to us.
Dear leader.
Dear leader, dear leader, we're delivering for you, and he's going to explain how 1825 on ITV and 1855 on BBC One. But hold on, dear leader, hold on. What if you don't have a TV license and can't watch live TV?
What's a TV license?
Exactly. I won't be watching you on either of those two channels.
No, well, I'm sure it will also be broadcast on the number 10 YouTube channel and Twitter account.
Yeah, I would think so. Mate. And with that, I'm going to welcome you to episode 186 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben from another continent.
Same continent.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre.
So, with the pre-roll today, and I'm currently working on an extension to the outro.
He is, because I told him to.
Yeah, he told me it was too short, and he was just getting into it, and then it cut off. So, I'm going to give you more, baby. Because
I was right.
Yeah, well, it depends. If the public want more, I'll give them more. If they don't like it, just let us know. Let us know, because we will not pander to you.
No, we will take your criticisms on board, decide whether or not we like it, then do what we like.
Yes.
That's what we'll do.
That's generally what we do, isn't it, mate?
Well,
it generally is.
It's the best way to be. I mean, Belladonna put it succinctly in the chat. I don't have a leader. Well, we don't have a leader.
No.
We might deliver for you, but we don't deliver to you.
That's true.
That's true.
There we go.
And there we go. So, let's start off with Albert. Okay. So Albert's pushing his new treatment. He's got a new treatment that treats.
This isn't Albert. This is Stefan Bansal.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, sorry. It's Albert's company, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. No, it's not. My mistake. This is Moderna, right? So Moderna's come out. Remember, Moderna, the company that never brought a product to market. Okay, until its last one has come out with a new treatment to treat heart failure patients. So they're going to inject mRNA into people's hearts after a heart attack to grow back new blood vessels and revascularize the heart.
Okay.
I tell you what, I mean, he does say that it sounds a bit science fiction, and he did have me at that because it sounds like a fiction to me.
It sounds like a fiction to me as well. Yeah, it sounds like something that once again they're not going to bring to market, because every other product they've tried to bring to market they haven't been able to, because doesn't work.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I think we'll need to keep a watching brief on that one. Yeah.
Yep.
You remember the NHS advert for Carol here, who was berating the fact that she hadn't had a treatment. It was stupid of her not to have had a flu vax because she got the flu and she's now recovering in bed. It turns out Carol's either a nurse or a crisis actor, because she certainly purports not to be a regular member of the public.
Well, she's definitely not a regular member of the public. She is at least somebody that the NHS go to photograph in situations and put on. I'm going to call them propaganda pieces at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but the problem I have is if you do something like this, which is fine.
Yeah.
But how do you then have any credibility? I mean, because she's obviously not ill, right?
Listen. Credibility is not a word that can be attached to anybody that purports to work with our government about anything anymore. Credibility is absolutely shot to shit. It's gone out the window. It doesn't exist anymore, right? And once again, this is just another nail in that credibility coffin. This is supposed to be a health service. Their job is to make you better when you are not well. And yet they appear to just have become the propaganda arm of the government.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody seems to be in the propaganda arm of the government except us.
I'd like some of that propaganda money. Not going to lie.
Although Sky News may be starting to come out of their shell here. 50,000 more deaths in the NHS over the past 12 months. So that'll be 50,000 excess deaths over the past 12 months. Why's that, says Kay Burley. And the Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, says it's extremely complicated. Oh, that means don't ask these questions because we can't explain it to you because you're too slow and stupid to understand. We are your leaders. We're working for you. Or we're not working for you. We're your leaders. We're working to make sure that your life continues to exist to serve us. Mm-hmm. That's basically it.
That is basically shut up, peasants.
Yeah.
Shut
up.
Yep. You don't need to know what's causing this or what's driving this, although it is multifaceted.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Because, I mean, we've said from day one that it was going to cause problems when you shut a health service, when you shut the doors and only treat one disease out of everything else that everyone suffers from. You're going to have problems, and these problems are coming back to bite us in the ass right now. Right,
and we were called granny killers for simply stating this.
Just stating that. I mean, it was obvious. It was obvious to anyone that this was going to happen. But there might be other factors, as well as just the continued neglect of the NHS, because the NHS has neglected its primary purpose, which was to care for sick people, and it hasn't really done that. It's been too concentrated on protecting itself. How can a health service protect itself from the sick people?
Well, we'll go back to what I was speaking with you about last week, that guidance I got, the latest government guidance, which says if you are sick, do not go to a medical facility.
I know, it's ridiculous. It does. If you're sick, don't come to us if you're sick.
Don't come. Right?
Carry on. Well, here's another thing. USA Today have come and said that kids are increased risk of heart attacks, right?
Yep.
Due to gaming and memes.
Wow.
I think Ben's had enough. Come back, Ben. Come back. Ben, I'm coming back.
Fucking what?
You don't really need to say any more, mate, do you? You don't need to say any more. Right.
Stop the world.
Now, right, so this is the one that gets me. This is wrong.
Right.
This is wrong, and the GB News and all the other channels are doing this, and it's wrong. That's not what Sturgeon said, right? Because the NHS in England said, wear a mask if you're unwell and you have symptoms, right? So that's effectively government advice, because that's coming from a government-run organisation, the NHS.
Yes.
Sturgeon went further. She said you should wear a mask on public transport and in public spaces. She did not say if you're unwell. She just said you should actually wear one right now, regardless of your status, because of the amount of cough and flu around.
So my question is this. As somebody in Scotland who, it was 2 days ago she said this, or was it yesterday?
2 days ago, I think.
As somebody in Scotland, I assume you've been out at least once since then.
Yeah.
Are people taking her advice?
Not generally, no. No.
I mean, I want to say good.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
say good. I mean, the poison dwarf, as she is lovingly known here.
She's in trouble again. Well, but she's not, because she'll just fucking ignore it. That's all she does. See these lecterns that she's got made up. You know, the one in the middle says the First Minister of Scotland, because she's important. Important. But they look like they've been printed on a 3D printer. They look like cheap plastic shit.
Do you know what that is? Because there's no money left, because it's all been embezzled somewhere. I mean, what?
Oh, you could be right. You could be. So, speaking about money, apparently Boris is living rent-free in one of his donors' homes in Knightsbridge, just round the corner from Harrods.
Doesn't he own several properties?
Well, yeah, but he's probably got them rented out. So he's living rent-free in a house that's worth 20 million, and one up the road is on for rental at the moment at 30,000 a month. He's told the parliamentary, the 22 committee or whatever, he's told, or the oversight or whatever, he's told them that the gift is worth 10 grand a month. I think he's undervalued it.
Isn't it a political donation?
Well, yeah. Effectively, yeah.
And so at least he's declaring it.
Well,
so
yeah. I mean,
that.
there is all this stuff just now about the amount of donations that have gone through to people, to PMs
you know
and
what
things.
Natasha says in the chat? Good for him. And you know what? I kind of have to agree, right? It's how the other half live. We are not part of that club. We will never be part of that club.
No, we won't be.
Somehow, some way, we became multimillionaires, we would still be the people that we are now.
Yeah, we'd still be looked down upon.
Yeah, of course we would. Of course we would. And the thing is, I wouldn't want to go and live in their neighbourhoods. Do you know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't.
It's there are certain class of people, and it is classism in this country more than like racism or sexism or anything.
Oh yeah, it is. It's definitely.
There are a certain class of people who stick together, run together, will always look down on people like you, me, and even people that elevate themselves to the level of that class.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a tight-knit group. Natasha says it's a big club. They all scratch each other's backs. And
yeah, they do. That's exactly what happens. Right, so this is quite interesting. This is, and just breaking away slightly and going to Ukraine, because you have to at some point, right? But this is quite interesting because this is what Condoleezza Rice says. Now, she's a Democrat, remember, right? Mm-hmm. She was in Obama's government. She was a Secretary of Defense, was it? Mm-hmm. So she's quite well up on this stuff. Mm-hmm. And she is a bit of a warmonger, right?
Yeah.
But what she said, though, is although Ukraine's response to the invasion has been heroic and its armed forces have performed brilliantly, and here comes the truth part, its economy is in decline, millions of people have fled, its infrastructure has been destroyed, and much of its minerals, industrial capacity, its agricultural land is under Russian control. Ukraine's military capabilities and economy are now almost entirely dependent on vital routes from the West, primarily the United States. And absent another major Ukrainian breakthrough and success against Russian forces, which is unlikely, given that I think Soledad has just fallen. Western pressure on Ukraine to negotiate a ceasefire will. I don't know what that means. She hasn't finished it. Any ceasefire agreement would leave Russian forces in a strong position to resume the invasion when they are ready. This is unacceptable, right? So she is on the cusp of saying that America needs to move in, I would say.
I would say so, and also not just on the cusp of, but saying outright that Ukraine can't win.
Ukraine can't win. They can't win. I mean, Ukraine.
We know this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Ukraine are still posting. They're now posting that they're killing like 1,500 Russians a day. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that.
And I still wonder why they are allowed to brag about how many human beings they've killed.
I know it's not. It's promotion of violence, surely. But anyway, I'm going to make a video now because I think the time is right, because America is in real trouble, and I'm going to outline the case why, and this is the icing on the cake, because
so Tony Garrett says Condoleezza Rice was in George W. Bush's cabinet or George Bush's cabinet.
She's still no, she's not in Barack Obama's. Anyway, whatever. She's right when she talks about that, but she is a warmonger. She's about to say, well, she does go on in the article to say that America needs to step up and send more arms.
John, the West are warmongers.
Well, yes, the West are warmongers. Well, no, I think. Well, it's difficult. It's difficult to say because I don't believe the West are. I don't think the people are warmongers at all. I think this is purely a leadership thing. You know,
Yeah,
and when I say leadership, I use the term loosely because these people aren't leaders.
No, they're not, and in many cases, completely unelected. Hi, Rishi. Hi.
Yeah.
How we doing, big boy?
Right, and following on from this, right? So the Centre for Strategic and International Studies has run simulations of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan in 2026, and basically they're saying America wins.
Yeah.
Right. If China invades Taiwan, America wins, and Taiwan still remains independent. Right. So they've run this simulation 24 times, but they've run this simulation on the basis that one, America steps in straight away.
Don't think they will.
Right. The war only lasts for 3 to 4 weeks.
No.
The Chinese don't fucking wipe out Taiwan immediately because they want to keep the infrastructure. Taiwan doesn't surrender almost immediately. And America has access to Japanese bases.
So what you're telling me is these simulations are being run based upon, and these models, shall we say, are being run upon an absolute fiction.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think so.
Models of the last God knows how long.
Well, when has a model ever been right? Ever? Regardless of field or regardless of who's run it, when has a model ever been right? Because if the models are right, New York's underwater, the Maldives doesn't exist.
No Florida.
No Florida. People don't buy beachfront property anymore.
Exactly.
And we're all dying of heat stroke.
Yep.
So the models.
Right
now. Yeah. But anyway, that's Taiwan. Taiwan is critical, and I think China is getting antsy now because they're starting to sense opportunity. I'm going to go into this in more depth. So Justin Trudeau has to be the world's biggest troll at the moment. He's actually taken over from Elon Musk.
Yes.
I mean, you need to listen to this video. You need to, when you get the chance, listen to the video. The world today is facing a lot of uncertainty, with the rise of authoritarian leaders causing global instability. He's the fucking worst. He's the worst example.
It just has absolutely zero sense of irony.
I don't know. Or is he just reading the script? Did they just drug him up and put him out?
I wouldn't put it past him to actually not understand what he did.
He's not the sharpest tack in the box.
No,
he isn't.
Definitely not. And I would not put it past him to just not understand that he is, or has been at the very least, everything he is purporting to speak out against.
Yeah.
I don't think he understands irony. I don't think he honestly thinks what he did was wrong. And I think he's going to get a big awakening once this review is done.
And this is what I don't understand, because these people were up for re-election after the first year of the coup.
I know, and they all got re-elected.
And that includes Sturgeon.
Yeah. And Ardern.
Yeah. And Ardern and Trudeau, yeah. I mean, they all got re-elected. I can't believe why anyone would do that.
But no chief opposition to them was running on a platform of, we will let you live your lives as you want to.
Actually, I'd go further. There was no chief opposition to them at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because I think if there was another way, if there was an alternative, if a mainstream party had stepped up during those elections and said, what these people are doing to you is wrong, we will give you your choice, your life, and the access and the ability to take care of yourself,
yeah,
they'd have all been out of power. They would have all been voted out.
They would have.
Because you know what? Ultimately, whilst people do want and need a leader, so it would seem, but for the most part, as we said in that video, which I haven't put out on YouTube yet, but it is out on Twitter, whilst people want and need a leader, they also quite like the idea of just being left to their own devices. It's a weird set of mental gymnastics that can be done inside people's heads. But they like being told what to do, and they like being left alone for a new life.
See, I hate being told what to do.
I won't be told what to do.
Yeah.
In fact, if somebody demands I do something, I will actively do the opposite.
And
if somebody,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I know what you mean, because it's like I think I brought it up on Friday on All In. If people recommend me to watch a movie or read a book, that's usually either the last one I see or I've never seen them yet. In fact, I've never seen Schindler's List because everybody says you must see it. Sorry, not going to happen. I'm not going to watch it now. And anyway, I know how it ends.
I think we all do, don't we?
Yeah. Right, moving on. And speaking of Europe, right. So yesterday, or well, the day before, Tuesday, we talked about it on the show on Tuesday, right? No, we don't do a show on Tuesday. We talked about it. Yesterday was Tuesday. We talked about the show on Monday. It was the UK's first space launch from Cornwall, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was all UK Space Agency. It was all UK.
Did they launch it off the bottom of a plane?
Yeah, it comes off that Virgin Atlantic 747, right? So, well, Virgin Orbit is called. So they take it up so high and then they drop it and then it bumps up. So it failed to make orbit. Right, but now it's Europe's first space launch, not the UK's. See, if that had been successful, I guarantee that would have been the UK's space launch.
Of course,
because Europe's launched stuff before. I mean, France launches stuff all the time. The European Space Agency launches stuff all the time from Equatorial Guiana or something like that. So yeah. Yeah, that's just a blatant attempt at saying that it's all Brexit's fault, isn't it?
Of course, always. Always.
Now, apparently scientists are studying the temperature at which humans spontaneously die with increasing urgency, because obviously because of climate change and the increasing temperature in the world, we're all going to start dying spontaneously.
I just don't care.
Because of temperature.
I just don't care.
Well, see, I don't quite understand this, because I've actually driven from snow, right, to 50 degrees centigrade in one day, right? I have gone from a mountain in California to crossing Death Valley. So it was freezing at the mountain and it was 50 degrees centigrade in Death Valley at the visitor centre. Now, when you step out your car, and as you go, I don't know if you've ever driven across Death Valley. It's quite interesting because they have all these signs up saying, don't stop, don't use your aircon or anything like that.
Let me interrupt you.
Go on.
Right, because a point has just been made in the chat, and I don't think it's a bloody good point. It's a question that's been raised.
How are they studying this?
Are they studying this?
Yes, I know. It does beg a bit of more investigation.
Are they getting some people? We'll give your family some money if we can put you in a box and kill you.
But anyway, as I was saying, so they tell you not to use your air conditioning. It's fucking 50 degrees centigrade outside. Of course I'm going to use my air conditioning. I don't give a fuck about the car. I don't care if the car overheats, as long as I get across Death Valley without dying. But anyway, yeah. So pulled in, stopped, gets out the car, and you get hit. It's like opening the oven door. It really is. You get hit with this wave of heat. But nobody died. Nobody spontaneously died.
John, you all did. It's just
you
don't know it. You're a ghost.
As a family, right? As a family, we left Scotland in November, right?
Right. Yeah.
-4 it was. Okay. As a family, -4. We arrived in Hong Kong. It was plus 33 degrees. Right. Nobody died.
John, you did. You died several times because of climate. Okay.
I think I must have.
You must have done. China experimenting with mosquitoes that spread vaccines without consent.
Well, first of all, you don't need the without consent part. Because China's not the leader in this. Bill Gates has done this already. Remember he did this, and I can't probably say it, but I think Zika had a lot to do with this because they were mucking about with mosquitoes, genetically modified mosquitoes.
They were.
In Brazil, and that round about the same time as Zika. And then they started doing it in Florida, and now they've released 20 million mosquitoes in California, which generally doesn't have mosquitoes anyway, right?
No.
So what the hell is going on? And then, it's a nonsense, isn't it? It really is.
Well, it's all a nonsense. And would we really be trusting the country who, let's face it, the official narrative is now, have had a major level 4 biolab leak leading to the last 2.5 years to be doing shit like this? Would we?
I don't trust anyone to be doing shit like this, mate. Why are we fucking about with the animal kingdom? I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough mucking about with ourselves. I mean, look at these treatments that they're putting out, which are affecting, and it doesn't alter your DNA. It doesn't alter your DNA, but it does now.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Doesn't do it.
No.
Doesn't do it.
Doesn't do it.
I'm in denial. I am in denial.
Electric cars cost more than petrol for long journeys. Well, yeah, of course they bloody do, especially the current price of electricity. Right.
We pointed this out months and months ago that if you're on a long run, it's going to cost you more in actual monetary terms, and 2, it's going to cost you more to get the vehicle in the first place. 3, it's going to cost you more in time.
I'm currently parked. Actually, I'm currently parked in a mixed-use space. It can either be a disabled space or an electric charging space.
Oh.
Right? So it was the only one available that was even semi-close to the front of the hotel we're at. So because we went out this morning to Alsham to get some more supplies. Yes. Supplies.
So you took your gas guzzler.
Yeah, too right. And I took my gas guzzler and have now for the next 2 days locked off an electric charging space.
Well, hey, if they make it multi-use, that's what can they expect?
Exactly. You've got disabled spaces, then you've got disabled and electric charging spaces, and then you've got electric charging spaces. So you've got this bit in the middle where either can park.
You don't need to be a disabled electric charger. No. Okay.
No, it's a no man's land between the 2 segments. So you've got disabled, you've got electric, and then you've got disabled or electric.
Okay. We missed it. We missed her birthday.
Hold on. I might be able to do something about that.
So young Greta, who is a role model for Norwegian youth apparently, but I mean she is Swedish. I think she might be a role model for Norwegian youth because she looks a little bit like a troll, doesn't she?
I'm afraid I don't have anything.
All right. So it was Greta's birthday on the 3rd of January, and she is no longer a teenager. Unfortunately, Greta, while possibly a lovely person to speak to,
she's now outdone her usefulness.
yeah, she hasn't flowered as well as they maybe hoped, and I think they're going to drop her because she's really not got the right credentials now to be a climate activist, has she?
Well, no, because she's becoming an adult, and people are going to start to realise, hopefully, that the reality of this situation is that this now woman has absolutely no qualifications in climate science.
Yep.
Never has done. Seemingly has absolutely no qualifications in any science because she, stopped going to school.
Yeah.
Has no authority or ability to be speaking on the things that she is speaking, and is no longer a child, therefore can no longer be put out there. Look at this kid saying after
Although I would argue, right, that just because you don't, and this is the part I don't like about this cancel culture that we're kind of got just now, in that your voice should not be of any less import just because you don't have a qualification.
Whilst I agree with you, and I do agree with you, these are the rules that they set.
Yes.
These are the rules that they set.
I agree with that.
When you want to say something along the lines of, we're pretty certain you don't need to be staying at home or shutting down the economy or anything like that.
Are you a virologist? Are you an epidemiologist?
And that's coming from the same people who would support a Greta.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if they want to...
Are you a climate scientist?
Greta, what qualifications do you have? What ability do you have to look at this stuff from a scientific point of view and say, this is happening? None. None, Greta.
You're absolutely right. And I think it's another example of where science has completely failed. Because it just doesn't work anymore. I saw, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson on Twitter this morning freaking out because of people not taking something. And that guy's lost it. Science-wise, he doesn't have a clue anymore. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Because he's trying to justify things from a scientific basis by using non-scientific methods.
Yeah. And then they say she has the best advisors, but then we could take these advisors, whatever advisors she has, we can take them and we can test what predictions they may have made in the past, because I'm sure that many of them will have been around advising people like fucking Al Gore, right?
Yeah.
And all of his nonsense was just that. It was nonsense. And it's going to have become, if it's not from the same exact people, it's the same pool of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we can look at the things that they have said. We can look at the predictions that they have made. And how many of them have come through true? Zero.
I know. It's exactly that. And Tony's quite correct in what he says. He's no biologist.
But I don't care. A quick question before we move on.
All right, go on.
Is Tate on the list?
No, Tate is not on the list. Has something happened with Tate?
Well, that thing we sort of talked about last night. I want to have a little chat about it in a bit.
Well, okay, we'll see how that goes. Right, so the SNP have mislaid the minutes of the meeting.
Oh, again?
To do with the ferries, right?
The ferries again.
Yeah, the ferries again.
Scrap them.
The First Minister claimed that she could not find any further information regarding her meeting with Ferguson Marine owner.
Just scrap the bloody ferries. Half your losses, Scotland.
It's not that. This is her fucking hiding the evidence. This is a breach of another breach of ministerial code, which she will not be pulled up for, which she will not be held to account for, and which she will just stand up and go, no.
No.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that. She really is a scum.
And
she
sorry,
really
I
is.
I don't recall. What do you mean, Nicola? You know exactly what happened. You know exactly where the missing money is. You know.
Oh yeah, where's the 600k?
You know, Nicola.
I think it's in that co-op bag that her husband carries all the time.
Becky Argyle says, Glenn Campbell, just to be clear, the Doctors' Union said that the hospitals are not safe right now. How can you say the hospitals are safe right now when the Royal College of Emergency Medicine estimates that perhaps 50 people per week are dying because they are waiting too long? Now, why is that? I'm just going to spell it out for you right now, because you closed the NHS to everything for nearly 3 fucking years,
yeah.
and it never reopened properly.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just the NHS, it's the GPs as well, right?
That is the NHS.
Well, technically they provide a service to the NHS, right? But anyway, but the GPs have never come back to work, so the GPs are... And we've been through this on a number of occasions. The GPs are sending basically all their patients to A&E.
I have a friend right now who went into shock in Bath Hospital last night.
Yes, I too know that person. Yes, Ollie. Yeah.
Ollie.
Yeah.
Went into shock in Bath Hospital last night, and they have left him. I haven't heard from him since. I'm very worried.
Well,
not gonna lie.
The last tweet I saw was, please retweet this, because he was obviously desperately asking for help.
But the only reason he was there is because the GPs would not see him when he was collapsing, when he was exhausted, when he was not being well. And I'm not gonna directly insinuate this, but these health problems only occurred after a certain product from Pfizer.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the problem, because basically because of that, I think he gets disregarded by the medical profession. I think the medical profession are willfully ignorant.
I agree with you. Now, I'm not gonna go any further than that on what might be the cause, because I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I simply don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to put any qualified voice to that. Unlike you, Greta, you're not, you know. But what I will say is this. GPs wouldn't see him. They wouldn't see him. They wouldn't see him. They wouldn't see him. And he's been ambulanced there twice.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Crazy.
The GPs actually saw him, got on top of what the problem might be, tried to figure out a course of treatment, perhaps, he wouldn't be there right now.
I know.
This is just one person. This is tens of thousands of people every day. NHS is... I'm sorry for people that really love the NHS, right? And I don't want to knock them, because I think the service has the potential to be the best in the world. It really does. But the way they have treated people, and the way they continue, the GP service in particular, continues to treat people, it needs to change. It needs to stop, because all of these hospital waiting times would be killed right like that, brought straight down, if you'd actually see your patients.
Yeah, it would. You're right, mate. So
it's just so frustrating. It really is so frustrating, because at an individual level, I don't like to blame any individual doctors and nurses, right?
No.
It's the service as a whole.
Yeah, it's collective. It's a collective failure. That's what it is, and it stems from the top down. That's the problem. This isn't a bottom up problem. This is a top down problem, definitely.
I agree, and so it's more of a plea than a demand. Please, GPs, just get back to normal service. And in fact, if you've got the ability, and there are people needing jobs right now, hire them as extra doctors at your surgery so you can open longer hours, and just get back to doing what you do best. We don't want to knock doctors. We don't want to knock carers, but when they refuse to see and treat patients, what can we do?
Well, we have no option. We have no option but to point out that they're not doing their job.
Exactly. Let's move on anyway.
Speaking of not doing their job, why are people picking on loads and loads of different things and alleging them bad for your health? Like, for instance, spontaneously dying from heat, going out in the sunlight is bad for you, running is bad for you, doing the housework is bad for you, using a gas stove is now bad for you. This is just another attack on gas, isn't it? They don't want you using gas because a lot of gas comes from Russia, so just don't use gas.
See, Natasha says in the chat here, 8 to 8, talking about what we were just talking about, 8 to 8, 7 days a week would help, right? I would actually go one further. I think we live in a 24-hour society now. I think we live in a 24-hour society.
Yeah, well, we talked about this. When did we talk about this? Was it Friday or was it Thursday? Because we spoke about it at length, right? And the problem is, you don't even get 8 to 8 at the moment. You don't get 9. You don't even get 9 to 5 because you get 2-hour lunch breaks. You get them doing it on call in the afternoon, although they don't go out anymore. So really, and then they'll probably have time to catch up on their reading because you don't do that after hours anymore because you wouldn't do anything when you're not getting paid for it. So I am sure there are people out there are conscientious GPs out there, but remember, people that have recently qualified as a GP or as a doctor, 50% of what you learned in medical school will have been found to be wrong within 5 years.
Absolutely. Now, I before we move on to actually discuss what's on the screen, I just want to give you a bit of an example, right? I was actually thinking about this morning, about how we live in a 24-hour world. So we got to the supermarket this morning at maybe 9:30, right? And it had been open for a couple of hours already.
Yeah.
We opened at 7:30. But down at the sort of left-hand side where the boulangerie and things like that are, there were hundreds of fresh baked items that had obviously been baked that night, right?
Yeah.
There were hundreds of hot-cooked chickens, hot-cooked gammon, hot-cooked chicken strips, goujons, things like that. People have been working all night doing that.
Yeah.
All night. And this is the type of world that we live in now, where somebody is doing something 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people might be on a nighttime work shift.
Yeah, but
every day of the week.
I don't actually think that's required. I don't think we need to do that. I mean, when you look at France in particular, it generally isn't a 24-hour society anymore because France still does things like the 2-hour lunch. They still shut early on a Wednesday afternoon. Now, where you are, they won't because that's Paris, right? That's effectively
and
Paris.
I was going to say, like, the resort that we're at have a massive crew of people to work overnight, every night, reloading fireworks, things like that.
But that's a different setup. That's a completely different thing. Generally in France, your pace of life is back 50 years from where we are here. It's like being back in the 80s in France. It really is.
Yeah, but that's kind of an outlier, right?
No, I don't think it is. I think what you're discussing is an outlier, right? You're discussing a 24-hour society that's based on big city thinking, right?
Okay.
And we actually don't need that. We don't need supermarkets to be open on Christmas Day. We don't need supermarkets. We don't need supermarkets to be open 24/7. We don't need these things. And why are we making people do this kind of work when it's not needed?
That's why I'm interrupting you, is because whilst we might not need it, you're absolutely right. It's obviously we've survived without it for God knows how long. That is where we are being pushed, and it's not like we have a choice. And so...
yes, I know what you're saying, but we do have a choice.
Of course we do, but we don't because...
But we won't exercise it.
Yeah, but the reason we don't is because, if you look at, let's take the last 2.5 years as an example, the vast majority of people dragged the rest of us down with them because they didn't say no. We didn't have the ability to have our no heard.
Pardon me.
And that's why we don't have a choice, because we get pushed and the vast majority just go along for an easy life.
But the other thing that you're going to be moving towards this 24-hour society, right? You're driving people out of jobs. because automation then becomes more important because you don't want to pay people for doing night shifts or for doing shift work.
Great.
So everything becomes more and more automated, and people are out of jobs.
And who's going to ultimately? The more we automate, the more we make things worse. Because first of all, people are going to need to fix the machines because the machines aren't going to fix themselves. First of all, second of all, all it's going to do is impoverish the society ultimately, because. Even look at even McDonald's, for example. McDonald's and Burger King in the UK, they've got these bloody stand-up ordering machines now instead of paying staff.
Yeah.
And that's some staff that are not being employed, that are not taking home a wage, are not able to pay the rent, are not able to buy McDonald's.
Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Natasha says people phone at 3 a.m. in the morning wanting to know why the outpatient isn't open. She works in a hospital.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, but that's the problem. That's the 24-hour society that we're driving people towards, and I don't think it's a great idea. I don't think it's needed.
I don't think.
It's convenient, right? It's convenient if you can't sleep and you want to go and do the shopping, right?
Yeah.
But it's not needed.
But the thing is, whilst I agree with you, ultimately, we are being pushed in that direction. There is not the collective will to push back against it, even because we and the people listening to us don't really want it, right? That's completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, because let's look, when over 1 million people marched through London, their voices were ignored. Their voices were ignored because of the majority. And so, unfortunately, through gritted teeth, we have to accept where we're being pushed, because there's no changing it. There's no changing it until people have the collective will to change it, and people just don't have that. And I know I'm getting a bit emotional and I'm getting a bit animated, but at the same time, I have been on the front lines of watching what a society has the collective will to do for the last 3 years. And I'm telling you, John, they don't have it in them.
No, our society doesn't. UK doesn't. UK's done. Forget the UK. No. I mean, you're still getting pushback from places like France and stuff like that. I mean, they're still, but France is still going out and protesting every weekend.
Yeah, but you don't see it. You don't hear about it.
You won't. But the people that live in France see it and hear it, and they know what's happening. And they've just Macron's just said he's going to raise the retirement age in France to 64.
Oh, great.
And they're all talking about going to strike again.
So Natasha says, ironically, right, I'm on nights, so off the bed now.
It's got nothing to do with gas. Anyway, no. I mean, the gas thing's just another freaking fear porn. That's all it is.
More fear porn.
More fear porn, right. So I've got to give Eminem credit here. Because 50 Cent says Eminem turned down a joint $9 million World Cup performance. So apparently Qatar approached Eminem to do a performance. He would get 8 million, 50 Cent would get 1, right?
Yeah.
And 50 Cent went to Eminem's team and said, what about it? And his team turned around and go, he's not going to do it. Fair play, mate. Fair play. And, if you stand for anything, it should have been do not support the World Cup.
Agreed. Marshall, Eminem is a bit of a dick.
Yeah,
He's more than a bit of a dick, but, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yep.
So, fantastic. Let's move on. Wyatt Reed, the man that's apparently Russia state-affiliated media and is on the Ukrainian kill list.
Yeah, well, here he is reporting about Peru. So, I mean, we don't hear about what's going on in these places because apparently the US is backing a coup down there. Police are going out and shooting people dead in cold blood. The place is the place is just deteriorating again into lawlessness. And South America's always had a bit of a reputation for this, but it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And you don't hear anything of this getting reported anywhere apart from people that are Russian state-affiliated media.
Also, it's not something I'm comfortable reporting on at the minute because it's one person tweeting one thing with a video and linking nothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. There is as you know, I have spent quite a bit of time going through Argentina and Brazil And I have no doubt that this is going on in Peru, right? Because that's quite a totalitarian society as well. So I put more credence on it maybe than you do, but I accept what you're saying, and yes, we've reported it as he has reported it. That's all we've done. We're not making any other assumptions.
I'm just not comfortable to report it as fact until I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. You can report that one as fact. There's a tweet that aged well. even it's CNN that's actually reporting it now. So it must be true, because let's face it, if it was fake, the CNN would not be mentioning it. Not at all.
Exactly. I would like to interject here and say we have 10 minutes left of the show.
Yeah, I think we'll get through it, because I think we're getting towards the funny end.
I was going to say, do you want to jump to the funnies?
Well, I think we're getting there, right? It's so funny. So, he had 4 meetings with Sam Bankman-Fried, right?
Wow.
4, okay? And they were all about the pandemic. What the hell was he meeting with him about the pandemic for?
Oh, I do remember SBF. I do remember SBF saying that he wished to not to I'll lose my words here. He wished to be a part of the cog, or a cog in the machine that made sure pandemics didn't happen again.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a cog in somebody else's machine, shortly.
Because, this absolute weirdo living in a crazy sex house full of drug fueled. He is a medical expert. John?
Well, yeah. Well, Bill Gates. I'm as medically qualified as Bill Gates.
I don't know what you're talking about, John. I am Dr. Bill Gates.
I'm more medically qualified than Bill Gates.
So am I. I am officially, and hold a certificate, it's a little thing, but I am Entonox trained.
There you go.
There we go.
Red meat is not a health risk. So, a new study has said that all this years of shoddy research about red meat being bad for you, right, is basically LOS.
Yeah.
And I can believe that, because it just seems to be you can generate anything to say anything you want. So if you have an agenda, for God's sake, and because science is ruined just now, because basically science is decided by who pays the most money. Because everybody, all the scientists do is scrabble about looking for funding.
Yes, of course they do. And you know what? The last 2 nights, actually, because we've not been we've had to make some different dinner plans. The last 2 nights, I have had a vast amount of red meat, John.
Yeah, quite right too.
Yeah, I have had some of the most fantastic burgers you can get from a fast food place.
Cool.
5 Guys, baby, 5 Guys, twice in a row. And if our dinner plans fall through tonight, I'll have it again.
Yeah, there you go. No, well, we should be all right. We've got 7 minutes and we're nearly there. That's quite a good one from Bob. I quite like.
It is. Unfortunately, Bob's been led down a bad path by.
Yeah, I know.
Actors.
Yeah, but that's not a bad one. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. I quite like that, and it's very appropriate.
Agreed. And do you know what? I tend not to pay attention to anybody that aligns themselves with the United Free Press, but like you said, it's good. It's truth.
Why Spencer talking about vegan burgers? What's he talking about? Why would you mention vegan?
I know Militant Buckley says he's having steak tonight.
Yeah, quite right too. Talking about steak, apparently, did you see this one? So Rod Stewart apparently took cocaine anally to protect his singing voice. First of all, really? But anyway, he bought anti-cold capsules, removed the contents, filled the empty capsules with cocaine and put them up his butt to be absorbed, right? So thank you for sharing that. And Elon replied to that saying, "That's dedication."
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. It definitely is. Like I said, well done, Rod. Well done.
I just don't understand why. Why?
No, I don't need that.
Right, so this is one for you, Ben. And there's a couple here for you to address, okay? So, Nerd brutally rejects woman for calling Marvel movies anime on online dating show. So, would you brutally reject a woman if she called your favourite cartoon an anime?
I don't have a favourite cartoon.
Well, like a Marvel cartoon movie.
No, I mean, I wouldn't brutally reject a woman for that, but I would certainly laugh at her.
Okay.
I would certainly say, you clearly have no idea what you're talking about, love.
Yeah.
but you know,
listen.
Hold on. Look at the difference between these two.
Well,
let's be shallow for a minute.
First of all, I'm thinking, why are you rejecting anyone, mate?
Yeah, that's my first thing, right? But listen.
Yeah.
If this was me and I looked like him and I was in this position, right?
Yeah.
And I go, but I can educate you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think this is the last slide. And this is one for you because this is someone who I think was a Disney person.
Who is it?
Maitland Ward.
Never heard of her.
So it's apparently, well, there's, and I never thought this would happen, but I learned a new word today, that ingenue, right. How would you pronounce that?
Ingenue. Or
So
ingenue.
anyway, ingenue, yeah. So apparently that means a naive person or someone who's wholesome, or the girl next door type thing. So and I never thought I'd get a new word from the New York Post, but you got to give them credit. So apparently she's finished her Disney career and turned to porn.
Wow.
Maybe Disney's missing a trick here. Maybe Disney should because the porn industry used to make more in Hollywood. I don't know if it still does.
John, no, don't start going down the tape road.
Right, so you've got three minutes. Oh, could someone who lives in Exeter tell me what this is about?
That looks like a Photoshop to me.
Do you think so?
Just to my eyes, that looks like a Photoshop.
It might be, it might not. I'm just if it's true, could someone enlighten me what it's all about? Because I don't even get the meme, even if it is a Photoshop.
No, well, I'm pretty sure it is a Photoshop. That's
Right.
all I can say.
Okay, well that's us, mate. We've exhausted. I'm pretty sure that's us. Yeah, that's us exhausted the slides.
Right, okay, so we've got a minute or two, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to say something that sounds quite controversial, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think Andrew Tate could be guilty.
Mm-hmm. Now you're basing this on video that's come out from his Hustler University stuff.
Well, I don't know if it's from Hustlers University, but it's some video from behind a paywall, so it's not public video footage. In which he makes some very, very disgusting claims.
But people make claims like that all the time. I mean, look at Trump, grab them by the pussy.
I agree with you, right? But also, no girls came out and said that Trump did grab them.
Well, I think they might have.
Maybe.
I think they did.
This is so far 6 and probably will be more girls making some quite disturbing allegations against Tate, which now seem to be completely corroborated in this video from his own mouth. And
But
the reason I say this,
you can't use that as evidence, though. That's the problem.
he's gonna. They're going to.
Well, they can't. They can't because that's hearsay. That's not a confession. That's hearsay. That's uncorroborated. And when I know you say it's corroborated by the girls, right? Or he's corroborating what the girls say, but he's not really, because he's saying something in a private setting, right? Which means he could be talking absolute shite like many of us do.
Oh man, he could be, but
I mean, look at the shite we talk when we're not on air.
Yeah, of course, that's what we do. But and there is a but here.
Just as long as Rod Stewart's not near it with his
Let me
cocaine suppositories.
Let me rephrase it then.
Go on.
He's an absolute scumbag.
Right, based on what he said. Yeah. But the problem is you don't actually know him, so you don't know if he is or isn't.
Even if I know whether or not that's true, the fact that he is saying it is true.
Yeah, but listen to. Hold on.
Makes him a scumbag.
Yeah, okay, but look at some of the stuff that Vaughn comes out with.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
And with that, I think I'd like to say thank you very much, Ben, for attending from the continent. We are an island nation. We are not on the continent, right?
I must run immediately.
Yep, and
I've just seen a message that says a show they want me to see with them, the people I'm with, starts in 10 minutes.
Right, okay, goodbye. Au revoir, mon chéri. So anyway, yes, thank you. I will see you on Friday evening.
No, you'll see me on Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. on Sonia Polton show.
Oh yeah, okay, but right, well there you go. Join in 7:30 a.m. on Sonia Polton, Rise on BNT, with me and Ben on Chasing Dissent.
Right.
So, right, Ben, and we'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon on the Thursday show as normal, and then we'll be back on Friday for All In at 9 o'clock. So with that, thank you very much for attending this episode 186 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, Ben, and John.
It's been great.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.